Hey everyone, Norm from Tested here at Wonderfest 2025, and I bumped into Jonathan Faber. Jonathan, so good to see you.
You too.
For longtime viewers of Tested, may remember Jonathan, we met at like an RPF party. At
years
Frank's
ago.
shop years and years ago, where we had a conversation about two of your TIE Bomber projects.
Yes.
You're a model maker by trade. You worked at New Deal Studios with Kate Savicker.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, you were her partner in crime.
Yeah,
She's talked so much about your work.
I love working with Kate.
And then now you're at Legacy, so you do work still professionally for the industry. But for fun,
you
love making TIE fighters.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So talk to us about this TIE fighter.
It's funny. I talk to people like, oh, what do you do for a living? Oh, I make models for movies. What do you do as a hobby? Oh, I make reproductions of models for movies. So this is my Darth Vader TIE fighter.
TIE-Advanced.
TIE-Advanced X1.
Yep.
And the ball is the same as the standard TIE. And then the thing I love about this is it's a solution to a problem. It's how do we tell which TIE fighter Darth Vader is in quickly? And so you make it completely different than a standard TIE, bend the wings, make them long instead of tall, and this is the solution.
The make him long, right? That beefiness that's at the end. That's this TIE fighter, like the standard TIE looks flimsy. I mean the way they filmed it, it spins around, explodes, but there was such a gravitas to this one.
It's not quite a tank, but it's more of a tank.
Absolutely,
which I love about it.
I gotta say, your model work, and obviously you've been doing this for so long, it's so clean.
Oh, thank you.
Talk to me about your process of how do you get all this, the clean panel lines, and as I assume you're building these with the way the original model makers were doing it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the real ties were they mastered the master pattern and then molded that, and then all the ties were all cast. And so this is a standard TIE ball that I cast from my other TIE fighter. The inner wing here is all the wing star from a TIE fighter, just turned and cut down. Okay. So what I do,
it's rotated 90 degrees.
Yeah. So what I do is a lot of my builds nowadays I build in the computer. Just to figure out sizes. Like I don't print it, but just to figure out size.
Just for layout and okay.
And so like the pylons are laser cut styrene. All the scribing is done by hand, but the shape. And like these, like everything, it took me 3 tries to get what I think is right. Wow. And so I, laser cut those, glue them together, scribe them, and then the back. The fantail here is, I did 3D print a buck and then vacuum formed over that. So these are vacuum formed styrene.
2 vacuum form.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like a single piece.
Yeah.
It's so perfect.
It's got the nice channel in the back. Yeah. And then the wings are acrylic. So 3 pieces of acrylic on each side.
Talk to me about the waffle pattern here.
I could never figure out what it was. I mean, I think everybody knows it's like light diffusion for fluorescent lights, but I could never find the actual material. Right. So what I did was I modeled it in Rhino and then 3D printed a big piece that would cover the biggest part, and then I made a mold of that and then cast that up and then started cutting it down. And the funny thing is, like, I forget the number now, but like this has like 7 rows. Okay. The other wing has like 6.
And this is based on your obsession.
Yes, my obsession with my reference material. And
so did you have to make 2 versions spaced differently, or is that just a narrower piece?
No, it's just a narrower piece.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then same on the top. There's like, the top one has like 14, and this one has like 15, and the bottom one has like 13. So it's like this weird, like, do you guys not measure any of this stuff?
Well, you're telling me, like, you modeled it in Rhino, but the dimensionality, right? You're not working off of a scan necessarily of that. You're making a guess as to how deep those divots are. Yeah. And then when you print it out, you make a mold, you cast it. The way the light's gonna hit it, you're gonna know that's right or wrong immediately. Yeah, and I use the model kit parts that I know, and I try to get different views of whatever I can find, and sort of like, okay, well, it doesn't come past this model kit, or it's flush with this model kit part. Yeah. And so that helps me to determine how thick it is or whatever. Right. It's like the same with the squares. So I'll scale this in the computer, and then I'll try to scale the squares. Like, okay, they're this big.
So that's kind of what helps me figure out what size things are.
Tell me about the interior. So you're using your same ball. Is this detailed the same way? As
same exact thing. The one thing I really like on this one is, since each one was, I think, pretty much built by a different person, the cockpit is different heights on each one. And this one, on the real one, you can tell there's it's ground out.
But they're using the same, I guess, the same casting.
All the same parts.
But it's just elevated. So do you just have to add extra padding?
No, I just sort of like moved it up a little bit and glued it in. But you can tell when they did it too high. Yeah. And the pylon wouldn't go in the front. Oh. So they had to grind the dash out to get the pylon in. So mine, it's a cast resin. Yeah. But I wanted to match that sort of foamy resin that they used. So I did a skin coat in the side of the mold, and then filled it with foam. And then when I ground it out, it's all sort of foamy on the top.
So a little bit of that almost a porous look.
Yeah.
Wow. And again, a thing that you would only notice when you shine light at it.
Yes.
And the way light bounces off of the instruments versus the part that was carved out.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. And it's looking at pictures for hours on end. It's trying to figure out, like, what is that? Why does that look like that? What's going on here? Why did they do that?
Yeah. What about this process that do you love the most when you're replicating something was based on an original?
There's a few things I love about it. One, I love the community. Like all of this, I built this because of other people, because they'd figured out what parts were. My friend Joe figured out a lot of stuff in here and was gracious enough to give me the information. And it's like everything else in the studio scale world, I'm building off of other people. And it's just the community at large I love. For me, the attention to detail, since I'm a model maker for years. Yeah. And I love, it's kind of hard to see, but I love replicating some things. You can tell where, on the real one, they were scribing the lines and scribed too far.
And so, you want to recreate that?
Yeah, so I sort of replicate that all over here. There's a few places you can see, like, oh, that was a mistake. But
perfectly imperfect.
Yes. Yeah. And the paint job on the black, there's a bunch of overspray that I tried to copy.
Really?
Yeah.
Where do you see?
I think you can kind of see, like here, you can see overspray.
That's something where only you would know.
Yeah.
And it's probably a painstaking thing for you to replicate overspray and not overdo the overspray.
Yes.
Wow.
So I tried to, like here's overspray, and I tried to, it's not exact, but I tried to get it pretty close.
Oh my gosh.
So that, and it's funny, the funny thing, like people would come look at that, like if it was in a model contest, they'd be like, oh, they're marking you off for that.
Right.
Like, no, that's intentional.
That's intentional. Everything's intentional. Everything's exacting. It's an exacting exercise in replication, which is a little different than what your other model you brought for Wonderfest this year. Now, like some of the other folks here, you went through the exercise of recreating making physical a piece of concept art.
I did. I was, right before lockdown, I started, I work on like 2 or 3 projects at once. And because sometimes
That's the only thing to keep you sane.
Yes. Well, you might want to ask my wife about that. But so like something like this, like I'll figure, oh, it's this kit, and then I'll try to get that kit. Well, it might take weeks or months to get that kit, and so you're kind of in a holding pattern.
Yeah.
And so I was working on a Y-wing at the same time, and I had modeled the whole body and the head and everything in Rhino, and I got the head done, and I was like, well, and then lockdown happened. It's like, well, I don't have any way to really build stuff at home. So I thought, well, I love the Joe Johnson concept snowspeeder, so why don't I'll just model all the parts that go on the Y-wing head to make the Joe Johnson concept speeder.
You look at it, it's clearly a Y-wing cockpit, right?
Yes.
But then you look at the back, and you're like, that's clearly a snowspeeder.
Yeah. I love the back end. It's so good with the angled engines and the fans and everything.
So you had already modeled and printed out and done your Y-wing cockpit, and this is kind of all the pieces are modification or grafting on top of that?
Well, I'd modeled it, and then after I'd modeled that, then I modeled the Joe Johnson parts. And this is 99% scratch built. Yeah. This is almost 100% 3D printed. Oh. And then I don't trust 3D prints, so I molded it and cast it.
What? Tell me why you don't trust 3D prints.
I've just known prints to warp over time, or some disintegrate. Yeah. Or I'm afraid it won't stand up like cast urethane.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you cast this, you're using a urethane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And you have the mold, and then you can make your second one and your third one.
Yeah. I actually have made 3 or 4 of these.
Oh, nice.
My bosses at work were like, that's nice. We want one. Like, oh, okay.
I love this panel here.
Yeah.
Is this part of the original concept art?
No, it's not. But I wanted to sort of incorporate that white from the Y-wings, and the idea was that it got hit.
I know. I see that
with the blast.
With the blast here.
They had to replace it, and so what do they replace it with? They have a Y-wing that's broken down, so they take a panel off the Y-wing and they put it on there.
Building a narrative.
Yeah. The pilots are when they did Star Wars, the TIE pilots, the X-wings, the Y-wings, it's all the same figure.
Really?
Yeah. It's all the same.
It's repainted. This one's repainted like a Rebel pilot, but there's no actual vest that they're wearing.
No, it's all the same. Wow. It's all the same guy. Wow. Even like the Darth Vader TIE fighter is the same character.
Yeah.
And I knew somebody that sent me one it's an ILM casting, and so I put them in here.
Wow. So a little bit of a direct lineage.
Yes. Yeah.
Finally, I want to ask about the painting weathering and your chipping here. What's your technique for doing paint chipping?
I did a black base coat, and then I did a gray, and then actually I did a black base coat, and then I did liquid masking for the chipping, and then I did a gray, and then I did taped out the orange, and then did chipping, and then sprayed that, and then start peeling off all the masking.
And then there's white as well.
White, yeah.
And wow, it's layers and layers and layers.
Yeah.
When you're applying that chipping, your liquid chipping, what's your strategy for making it look crisp? And
I try to sort of copy what they did, and then I try to figure out, okay, well, you're flying along, so you're gonna get a lot of debris from the front, and if it's a snow speeder, it's probably going low to the ground, so you're gonna get stuff on the bottom. So I tried to chip more along what I thought would be the high wear areas
It's beautiful. It looks perfectly random. It looks like it's gone through a story, and really cool executions. Again, not just the lineage of these, but also the way you made them with scratch building and then 3D modeling.
Yeah, it's totally different techniques, but
scratches different itches.
Yes. Yeah.
What's next for you, Jonathan?
I'll continue this, the Y-wing. So I'll move on to the Y-wing. I'm already working on that. Hopefully that'll be next.
All right. Well, maybe
see how long that takes.
Yeah. Hope it won't be next couple years before we see you again.
Yeah.
Either Wonderfest or back in California.
Yeah.
Great to see you, Jonathan.
Good to see you.
Thank you guys so much for watching that video. I would be remiss if I didn't tell you we have some excellent merch. We have a 5-pack of demerit badges for sale right now at tested/store.com. We've got the I hung it off of level demerit badge, the I built the chair backwards demerit badge, the I hit my thumb with a hammer demerit badge. We've got the stapler in my finger demerit badge, and my favorite, I stuck the duct tape to itself demerit badge. Get yours now, tested/store.store. Tested-store. Tested. It's right here. There. Just click there.